You can watch 90 minutes of football every single day, and still become a worse player. That sounds impossible. Surely watching more football should make you better. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most players don't watch football to learn. They watch it to be entertained. They follow the ball. They admire goals. They celebrate skill moves. They replay screamers. Then they wonder why none of it shows up in their own matches. Because the difference between an average player and an elite player isn't just what happens on the pitch. It's what they notice. Two people can watch the exact same game. One sees a great goal. The other sees the 5 decisions that made the goal inevitable. One sees a defender make a tackle. The other notices how he prevented the pass 10 seconds earlier. One watches highlights. The other studies habits. And that's why one improves without touching a football, while the other stays exactly the same. Today I'm going to completely change the way you watch football. Because once you start seeing the game the way elite players do, you'll never watch another match the same way again. The biggest mistake everyone makes. Most players think watching football is like downloading skills into their brain. If I watch enough elite players, I'll naturally become like them. But that's not how learning works. Imagine trying to become a chef by only looking at pictures of finished meals. You'd know what great food looks like. You still wouldn't know how it was made. Football works the same way. Most viewers only pay attention to the final action. The shot. The dribble. The assist. The tackle. The celebration. But elite players care much less about the ending. They're obsessed with everything that happened before it. Because football isn't won by spectacular moments. It's won by invisible decisions. The goal is simply the receipt. The real purchase happened much earlier. That's why watching football the normal way teaches you entertainment. Watching football the elite way teaches you decision-making. And decision-making is what separates players who dominate games from players who disappear in them. Lesson 1: Stop watching the ball. Here's something that might shock you. The ball is often the least interesting thing happening on the pitch. Think about it. One player has possession. 21 players don't. So if you only watch the ball, you're ignoring almost everyone. Elite players don't do that. When the ball reaches a winger, they're not staring at the winger. They're watching the fullback, the defensive line, the supporting midfielder, the striker's movement, the weak side winger, the spaces opening behind defenders. Because that's where the real information is. The ball only reveals the decision. Everything else reveals why the decision existed. Next time you watch a match, challenge yourself. Pick one player who doesn't have the ball. Watch only him for 5 minutes. Don't follow the pass. Don't follow the camera. Just watch him. You'll suddenly notice things you never realized before. How often he scans. How early he moves. How he creates passing lanes. How he manipulates defenders. How much work happens without touching the ball. Lesson 2: Study the seconds before the highlight. Every highlight has a hidden story. The internet only shows you the ending. Elite players study the beginning. Take an incredible through ball. Most people say, "What an amazing pass." Elite players ask, "Why was the passing lane open? What movement dragged the defender away? Who created the overload? Which midfielder attracted pressure? Who scanned first? Why did the defender react late?" Now suddenly, one pass becomes 6 different lessons. This is exactly why watching compilations alone won't make you smarter. Compilations remove context. Football intelligence lives in context. Pause matches before the final action. Ask yourself, what do I think happens next? Then watch. Were you right? If not, Why? You're training your football brain to recognize patterns instead of simply reacting to them. That's exactly what great decision makers do during games. They don't predict the future. They recognize familiar situations faster than everyone else. Lesson 3, watch one position, not 22. Most players try to learn everything. Elite players learn themselves first. If you're a midfielder, stop trying to study every striker. If you're a winger, you don't need to memorize every goalkeeper. Instead, become obsessed with your position. Watch every movement, every scan, every body shape, every pressing trigger, every supporting run, every recovery sprint. Notice how often elite midfielders check both shoulders before receiving. Notice how fullbacks position themselves before the winger even gets the ball. Notice how strikers constantly adjust their runs by half a meter instead of making huge dramatic movements. Football at the highest level is full of tiny adjustments. Those tiny adjustments create massive advantages. The reason average players miss them is because they're distracted by everything else. Narrow your focus. Ironically, you'll start understanding. Lesson 4, watch for problems, not skills. Most players ask, how did he do that? Elite players ask, what problem was he solving? This changes everything. A body feint isn't just a cool move. It's a solution to pressure. A back pass isn't negative. It's a solution to blocked space. A switch of play isn't random. It's a solution to overloads. Even the world's best dribblers rarely dribble because they want to. They dribble because every simpler option disappeared. That's an important mindset shift. Football isn't about collecting techniques. It's about solving problems. The better problem solver usually becomes the better player. So every time you see an action, ask yourself, what problem existed? What options were available? Why was this option chosen? Was there a better solution? Now you're no longer watching football. You're reverse engineering football. And that's how intelligence grows. Lesson 5, watch the mistakes of elite players. This might be the most underrated learning tool in football. Everyone studies perfect moments. Hardly anyone studies mistakes. But mistakes reveal decision-making better than success does. When an elite midfielder loses possession, pause. Ask yourself, why did it happen? Was the scan too late? Did pressure arrive unexpectedly? Did a teammate move incorrectly? Was the body shape wrong? Did he ignore an easier pass? You'll notice something surprising. Even world-class players make mistakes. The difference is, their mistakes are usually caused by tiny margins. Average players often make obvious mistakes because they never notice the warning signs. Elite players usually recognize those warning signs much earlier. That's what you're trying to learn. Not perfection. Recognition. Because football isn't about never making mistakes. It's about reducing. Here's a simple challenge. The next time you watch football, don't try to enjoy the game first. Try to investigate it. Choose one question before kickoff. Maybe, how often does the holding midfielder scan? How does the striker create separation? When does the left back decide to overlap? How does the team escape pressure? Spend the entire match looking for that answer. One question. One focus. One lesson. You'll remember far more than if you tried to analyze everything. Then after the match, write down 3 observations. Not statistics. Observations. Things you noticed. Patterns. Habits. Decisions. Then ask yourself one final question. Where can I use this in my own game this week? That's the missing step. Watching doesn't improve you. Applying does. If you never test what you learned, you never actually learned it. Here's the biggest difference between average players and elite learners. Average players consume football. Elite players study football. One watches to see what happened. The other watches to understand why it happened. That's why two teammates can watch the exact same match. Yet one improves dramatically while the other stays exactly where he is. From today, don't be a fan for 90 minutes. Be a detective. Look beyond the obvious. Study what nobody else notices. Pay attention to movements without the ball. The decisions before the decision. The problems before the solution. The habits that repeat over and over again. Because football intelligence isn't something you're born with. It's something you train. And every match you watch is another opportunity to sharpen it. The next time your teammates are talking about the goal, you might be thinking about the movement that made the goal possible. That's when you'll know you're starting to watch football like the players who truly understand the game.